Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining today's session, which we will be recording. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some basic housekeeping items. Today's session is in a webinar format, which means attendees are in a listen and view only state with no ability to unmute or start your cameras. To ask questions, please utilize the Q&A button you located on your Zoom toolbar. Also, please feel free to use the chat feature for any comments or feedback. Also, if you'd like to use the live transcription, the closed captioning, please use that button that you'll find on your Zoom toolbar as well. And with that, I'd like to turn things over to Alana. Alana, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today for the 2022 Residential Space and Water Heat Rebates event. Next slide. So in today's agenda, we're going to cover quite a few items. So right now we're doing welcome and introductions. We will have a safety moment. That's part of our PSE culture here. All employees are required to host a safety moment for each meeting. We're going to discuss why energy efficiency, single family homes defined, 2022, water heating rebates, space heating rebates, Trade Ally Network requirements. There will be time for live Q&A, as well as closing comments. Next slide. So meet PSE space and water heating presenters. So today we're going to be hearing from Jesse Durst, who's a senior market analyst. Well, he's a prior water heat program manager for Puget Sound Energy. Holly Lloyd is a space heat and midstream HVAC and water heat program manager, also PSE. And then Colin Stone, who's the Trade Ally Network program manager for PSE. Next slide. Okay, so again, back to the safety moment, that culture here at PSE. Try to always find something maybe that would be seasonal, that'd be educational for folks. And I found this checklist, if you will, the Take Winter by Storm website. You'll see the link there below regarding checklists. And I wanted to do a screenshot to show you all the different types of checklists offered. I thought were really important. So from emergency contact cards to high winds checklists, what you can do to take care of yourself, your family, your community. The one checklist I really wanted to focus on today was the family communication plan checklist. And also, if you go to this link in this website here, there's checklists come in other languages out besides English, which I think is great as well. Oh, sorry, next slide. So here's a snapshot from if you were to download the checklist, the family communication plan. You can see here it's pretty thorough. It's a little small, but again, if you visit that link and you can download the checklist, it's easier to read. So you would always have an out-of-state contact, keeping all of the family member information up to date as much as possible. You can see down below, there's doctor's information, pharmacist, an out-of-state contact. Make sure have information. For example, my sister lives out of state, so she would be my out-of-state contact, and we could check in with one another. And I also think it's really important too. You'll see the veterinarian contact information there. If something were to ever happen with the storm and pets were displaced, everybody in your family knows the plan, knows who to contact, and of course, work through your plan and have a meetup location as well. Thank you so much. That's sharing that safety moment with me. Next slide. And take it away, Jesse. Thank you.
Thanks, Alana. So good morning, everyone. Before we got into the details of PSE's space and water heat programs, I wanted to say a few words about why we offer energy efficiency programs. Many of you are already familiar, but just wanted to do a refresher. So when we're thinking about limited energy resources, PSE must provide achievable, cost-effective savings and programs and incentives to our ratepayers, who are also our customers. So these programs that we develop are, using ratepayer dollars, and so using regional savings estimates and estimated costs, we create measures such as space and water heating equipment, and assess their cost effectiveness, and then decide on which programs to operate year to year. So, looking at it this way, incentives are sort of rate repayments back to our customers. And because cost effectiveness and energy savings here are key points, verification of those savings is essential to our programs, as is consistently following our documentation requirements so we can prove those savings. So when you see specific requirements on rebate materials, it often goes back to ensuring and accounting for those energy savings. Next slide, please. So talking about single-family existing homes. So the programs we'll be discussing today are explicitly designed for single-family existing structures, which are defined as structures with 4 units or less attached by a contiguous roof line. That means that essentially new construction multifamily with 5 units or more are not eligible for our single-family existing programs. Typically, single-family existing structures are broken into 2 different housing types, site-built or sometimes called stick-built homes, and manufactured or mobile homes. Just a good definition for manufactured homes, it's a structure where the plumbing, heating, and air conditioning and electrical systems are normally contained within the belly of the structure within a rodent barrier. Typically, it's built on a permanent chassis. It can be transported in 1 or more sections, and it may or may not be permanently affixed to a concrete foundation. Next slide, please. On to some general qualifications for space and water heating programs. Most of these apply across the board. If you're familiar with any of our rebates, this is going to be a repeat for you, but just to review them quickly, the customer must be a current PSE single-family residential natural gas or electric customer, depending on which rebate you're applying for. As we mentioned, new construction, multifamily, and commercial accounts are not eligible. Generally, application materials must be submitted within 30 days of equipment installation. Rebates are only available on new qualifying equipment, and equipment replaced under warranty will not be eligible for a second rebate. Generally, only 1 rebate is allowed per qualified single-family residence, although there can be some exceptions granted in specific cases. You can always reach out to us if you have any questions about that. Rebates cannot exceed the pre-tax purchase price of any rebated product. So that's a key point as well. The paid installation invoice and purchase receipt for the installed product should include the following: an installation date, brand, model number of all rebated equipment, and an amount paid. We do have a example invoice later in the presentation as well. It goes without saying that you should comply with all federal, state, and local code requirements. We don't do code enforcement at PSE, but just goes without saying that's important. And finally, our rebates cannot be combined with any other PSE rebates except where noted. On to the next slide. So next we're talking about our gas water heat rebates for site-built homes. So there are no big changes in 2022. You'll see we still offer that $50 incentive for Energy Star gas storage tank water heaters and a $250 rebate for Energy Star gas tankless water heaters. Just to note, we still are on Energy Star version 3.0. I know that they recently came out with a 4.0, slightly different standards. For now, we're still honoring Energy Star version 3.0. If we do update that requirement, we will let you know. So it goes without saying also that the customer must be a PSE natural gas customer to qualify for these rebates, so no PSE electric only customers, please. Next slide. So manufactured homes. We now this year have new rebates for gas water heaters installed in manufactured homes. This may be very, very uncommon, but we wanted to offer it just to build equity between our manufactured home and our other offerings. So we offer a $100 incentive for Energy Star gas storage tank water heaters and a $500 rebate for Energy Star tankless water heaters installed in manufactured home. Again, the customer must be a PSE natural gas customer. On to the next slide. Now let's talk a little bit about our electric water heater rebates. There are some changes here. So PSE has 3 channels for delivery for our heat pump water heater rebates: midstream, retail, and downstream. Most contractors participating in our Trade Ally program will already receive the PSE rebate through a participating distributor in our midstream program. For that reason, we're going to focus primarily on that program today. The retail and downstream programs are generally only available to residential customers, either directly at the point of sale or through an application of PSE in special circumstances. The retail program is likely not to apply to contractors, while downstream program, like I said, it's usually only special circumstances where a customer would apply for a rebate through that program. As always, our full rebate requirements are available on our website, so be check out our website at the links provided on this slide. On to the next slide. So in 2022, PSE changed the rebate amount for our heat pump water heaters for our midstream program based on whether the project is a retrofit or new construction. Because of changes to Washington State Energy Code, PSE increased the requirement for new construction projects from a NEA Tier 3 to NEA Tier 4. And we also dropped the rebate amount from $500 to $150 for new construction. Accurately capturing the structural designations will be very important for distributors. All submissions will be reviewed and will verify and return to distributors if it does not meet those minimum specification requirements. So be sure to be aware of those. Rebates for heat pump water heaters, a $300 incentive for NEA Tier 1, and a $500 incentive for NEA Tier 3 or Tier 4 units. All the heat pump water heaters must meet NEA's Northern Climate Specifications version 8 and be 120 gallons or less. Distributors do have QPLs on site to help aid with knowing, which tiers apply to which equipment and which rebates. There's also a contractor spiff of $100 for both of the retrofit rebates. And the next slide, I think, is a poll. So we're going to be there's going to be a poll activated, so you'll be able to answer this yourself. We appreciate your responses. Are you interested in any training on, and these are through our distributors, are you interested in any distributor training on heat pump water heater installations with CEUs, DHP or heat pump right sizing training for CEUs, or just CEUs in general? If there's something else you're interested in, you can feel free to place that answer in the chat. So we'll give people about 30 seconds here to select their choice, and then we will continue presentation. I'll just give some people some time here, so it'll be a little dead air. Okay, let's go ahead and close out that poll and see what the results were. So it sounds like CEUs in general, number 1, DHP, heat pump right sizing, number 2, and heat pump water heater installations is number 3. So that's interesting. We may follow up with you with some additional opportunities if those arise. And thank you very much for participating. Okay, next slide, please. So PSE does offer retail electric heat pump water heater rebates at the point of sale at participating retailers. Currently, that's Home Depot and Lowe's. With that, customers who purchase a heat pump water heater from a participating retailer in PSE's territory, along with our territory partners, will not be eligible for an additional rebate, although there are a few exceptions which we'll cover. This situation is unlikely to apply to you, but if you work with retail stores like Home Depot or Lowe's, or you're installing a unit that a customer purchased, be aware that PSE has most likely already provided a rebate for that customer. Next slide. Generally, so this is about our downstream electric water heater rebates. So generally, all of those heat pump water heaters that you work with have already received that $500 rebate, either through Midstream or retail program, and it's not eligible for an additional rebate. There are some exceptions. Customers who purchased a qualifying heat pump water heater online or at a non-participating store, contractors who use a non-participating / out-of-state distributor to source their heat pump water heater supply, or customers who are eligible for an additional bonus incentive based on their house or income status. And I believe that's what we're going to be covering next. If you suspect any of these situations apply to your customer, you may contact a PSE Energy Advisor to discuss your options. We do reserve the right to deny any downstream rebates that were not pre-approved. So that's something to keep in mind. One option, and you can go to the next slide, an example of an exception you may run across that I mentioned previously. In manufactured homes, we do offer a $200 incentive add-on for customers who bought a qualifying unit through a participating retail store or Midstream distributor. If you suspect that a customer may be eligible for the add-on bonus but aren't sure, you can contact the PSE Energy Advisor, and their number is 1-800-562-1482. We'll have that peppered throughout the presentation today, their contact information. So on next slide, just a few notes on the application and rebate process for the downstream rebates. Trade allies are encouraged to provide instant rebates to all qualifying customers. Those instant rebates are applied on the customer's invoice, and that reduces the total customer responsibility. And the trade ally then submits the documentation to PSE for reimbursement through our portal. If you're participating in the instant rebates, you probably already know how this works. As a minimum service, we do request that you provide all customers with an application packet at the point of sale. And as always, if you need any training or support with the portal, you can contact Trade Ally Support at pse.com. And then the next slide is the sample invoice that I have for your reference. All invoices submitted to PSE should include the key information listed here, including company information, invoice number, customer information, date of the installation, equipment information, and then the rebate amount and the customer amount due. As a note, the rebate should be deducted after sales tax is applied. And I'm not going to cover every single item here. If you do need a sample invoice, you can always reach out to us and we'll provide that to you. Next slide, please. And then a little bit about the rebate consideration process. All applications should be submitted within 30 days of installation to qualify for the incentive. As with all of our rebates, please ensure that the equipment qualifies before promising a rebate. You can also confirm whether the product is either Energy Star qualified, again using Energy Star 3.0 for gas water heaters, or on NIA's QPL for electric heat pump water heaters. If you're uncertain if a customer may qualify for PSE rebates due to unusual or unique situation, you can always contact a PSE Energy Advisor. Their number is 1-800-562-1482. 1482 to initiate a rebate consideration. This process basically, we gather all the necessary information for program staff, program managers to make a decision regarding rebate eligibility, and then we send you a pre-approval letter or an email that you can submit with your rebate application so it goes smoothly. And I think that's about it for me. So I'd like to pass it over to Holly Lloyd, the program manager for the Space Heat program, and she'll be discussing our space heating rebates.
Good morning and welcome, excuse me, welcome to our event and Happy New Year. I know you guys are all super busy, so we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us. I'm going to cover our downstream space heat rebates and then touch on some midstream space heat and also just touch on some clarifying points on the heat pump water heater via midstream. So for our gas furnace and gas boiler, we're excited to increase our rebate from $350 up to $700 for single family homes. The manufactured home and income qualified efficiency boost rebates are going to be increased to $1,000. This is all obviously effective January 1st. They must both be AHRI certified or Energy Star qualified at 95% of an annual fuel utilization efficiency rating or better. And obviously it has to be a PSE natural gas customer to qualify. And some of the changes that we've been communicating through email to our contractor network and even any contractors that we know have participated in the midstream rebate program, PSE is facing some challenges with our high efficiency natural gas furnace, and that when it's installed in tandem with a heat pump, we do not achieve the necessary therm savings to justify the rebate. So we are cracking down. We'll be increasing verifications to look at when there is an existing heat pump on site, or if contractors are installing a heat pump with a high efficiency gas furnace and then submitting for the rebate. It could be that there's a small DHP in some back bedroom somewhere that would still allow us to pay the furnace rebate, but those are going to require pre-approval. So you'll use the Energy Advisor hotline to let us look at the usage before you talk to the customer about the rebate, and just make sure that it is an exception that we can pay. We will be denying more and more gas furnace rebates for this reason. The days of low-hanging fruit for energy efficiency are kind of in our rearview mirror, and we're having to really zero in and focus and ensure we're achieving the savings that we're claiming. Not a change to the gas boiler. Oh, sorry, no, that's on the next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, so on our integrated space and water heat, everything remains the same from 2021. The rebate amount remains at $800. But something we're seeing come through is a lot of, well, not a lot, but a few projects are coming through where a storage tank is installed with the integrated system, and PSE does not pay rebates on that. There are savings losses through the storage tank. And so we just want to clarify that point, that if you are installing a tank, it won't qualify. So please don't discuss that with your customer, but ultimately it remains the same. It has to be AHRI certified or Energy Star qualified at 91 efficiency for the tankless system or 95% AFUE for the gas boiler system. Next slide, please. Okay, so for our electric resistance to ductless heat pump, this is also a pretty significant change for 2022. It has to be an AHRI certified as a mini split heat pump. It has to have a minimum HSPF of 9.0, so that's all the same. Has to have the inverter technology, a minimum of 3/4 ton heating capacity. But in the past, we had been allowing a $1,500 rebate if the DHP was serving the whole home, and that is being retired. We are not seeing enough savings. And I don't know if all of our contractors are doing heat loss calculations, but because some are not, when we go back and look at the usage to try and justify the savings that we're claiming, we're just not coming up with enough savings. So the rebate will be capped at $800. So any DHP being installed will only be eligible for $800 in a single family application, and $2,400 for a manufactured home. And we've increased our efficiency boost customers. Previously it was $1,600, and now it'll be $2,400. So we're trying to streamline things and increase or improve our offerings to our median income customers. You must be a PSE customer, electric customer to qualify, and the primary heating must be electric resistance. This would include a forced air furnace, baseboards, cable, wall heater, or electric hydronic. At least one indoor head must be installed in the main living area of the home. If it's installed in a back bedroom, it won't qualify. And it goes without saying, but customers with existing natural gas forced air furnaces or boilers are not eligible for this rebate. And when you're in doubt, if it's a ductless heat pump or a traditional unitary, in AHRI, they're categorized as variable speed mini split and multi-split. So we do see ducted ductless systems, but AHRI is the determining factor on which rebate it will qualify for. Next slide, please. Oh, back one, please. There we go. Okay, so our electric forced air furnace to our unitary heat pump conversion remains the same. It's $1,500 for single family, and then of course $2,400 for manufactured homes. And efficiency boost, you have to be a PSE electric customer, and the primary heating must be electric forced air furnace to qualify. Customers with existing forced air furnaces or boilers, natural gas, do not qualify. Next slide, please. Okay, so we receive a lot of questions about ADU requirements, and this really isn't a change, it's just a clarification and something we're now publishing on our website just to help customers understand where their ADU fits in with our qualifications. The ADU must be occupied full-time to qualify. If it's just where customers have their family come visit at the holidays and they want heating in that room or something better, we're not going to see enough energy savings to justify that. So in addition to being occupied full-time, it has to be an additional living area independent of the primary dwelling. And this is basically a real estate kind of code requirement. There can't be venting from the primary dwelling into the ADU. And it must have a fully functioning kitchen and a full bathroom in order to qualify for a separate rebate. So it would be an entirely distinctly different heating zone. And then in line with this sort of clarification on ADU requirements, we're also going to increase some of the data we capture on our rebate application. And this will help us when we evaluate how much savings is coming through for each of these projects. This data will help us out. We're going to require the total home square footage, the ADU square footage if it's being installed into an ADU, the total tonnage and heating capacity of the installed system, and then the number of indoor heads installed, if applicable, if it's a DHP. Next slide. Okay, so what do we need to remember about downstream space heating rebates? Basically, heat pump conversion rebates are not eligible for customers with existing heat pumps. If there's a heat pump on site already, it's not a conversion. If the heat pump has been broken for over 2 heating cycles, 2 heating seasons, then you can apply for an exception. It's not guaranteed, but we'll take a look at the usage and see if PSE can justify paying a rebate at that location. As a recap, the whole home electric forced air furnace to DHP conversion of $1,500 is retired. All EFAF to DHPs will only qualify for $800. And we communicated on December 15th via email that this was being retired. It was sort of a late year decision. PSE evaluated a bunch of usage and different information, and we came up with needing to just do away with the measure entirely. We weren't seeing the savings that we needed to justify that extra $700 in the rebate. If you have bid work prior to December 15th, when we notified that this was being retired, you can submit those projects through to PSE through January 31st. If you have them in the queue and they won't be installed before January 31st, I wouldn't say panic or anything. We're going to be relatively lenient. We want to encourage you to prioritize those projects so that we can get them processed. But in scenarios where you have concerns, you can reach out to an energy advisor or the Trade Ally Network, and we will review those on a case-by-case basis. Touching again on the natural gas furnace rebates, they are not available when customers have a new or existing heat pump. As I mentioned, we are increasing our verifications. Something we've seen come through are increased customer complaints that they're being promised better energy savings when they install a heat pump to make their furnace the secondary heating or the backup system. And really, their bill is going to probably go up it's not going to go down, even though they are saving therms. And so we just want you to be cautious about what you're promising to the customer, because we are having feedback that a contractor has told them they would save money and their bill went up. So something to be aware of. Now, PSE does not discourage a heat pump with a gas furnace and making the gas furnace the backup. It's not that we don't like that setup, it's that we don't have the data to assess what the energy savings would be there. And so PSE has initiated a pilot, and in 2022, we'll be evaluating home usage in that scenario. And we're hopeful that what we find will allow us to offer a rebate in the future. So again, it's not that it's a bad configuration, we just can't rebate it right now because we don't have solid energy savings data. Next slide, please. Okay, so this leads us to our next poll question. How frequently does your company install dual fuel hybrid heating systems? For example, electric heat pump with natural gas furnace. Is it regularly, occasionally, rarely, or never? And you should see that come across. There we go. And while you're filling this out, I just want to touch on the fact that PSE has added a $100 contractor spiff for the heat pump water heater via Midstream. We realize that some contractors are hesitant to promote the heat pump water heater. It takes a bit longer perhaps to install. There's a different configuration. And so we're sort of hoping that this $100 spiff will encourage those contractors that have some hesitancy to explore promoting heat pump water heaters. It really is something that will benefit PSE's system tremendously. Okay, so here we have the results. It looks like we have quite a few that are doing it regularly. Well, that's great. Thanks for that feedback. And next slide. Okay, so on to Midstream space heat rebates. Pretty much the same for 2021. The big significant difference is obviously the Washington State Energy Code and the credits. We've had to do away with new construction tier 1 traditional heat pumps. So in order to qualify for a new construction traditional heat pump, it has to be an HSPF of 10 or greater. So the days of a 9.0 HSPF are gone. But the mini and multi-split, retrofit, and new construction all remain the same. The rebate amounts remain the same. And of course, this is referring to residentially sized units at below 5.4 tons. And the ductless heat pump, again, is the variable speed mini split, multi-split. So you just want to make sure when you're submitting that you've got the right AHRI designation, and your distributors can help you out with that. Next slide. Okay, so as I mentioned, the new construction traditional heat pump has to be 10.0 or greater to qualify for a PSE Midstream rebate. We've partnered with Snowpud and Seattle City Light, and we all have the same alignment on these measures. So it should be just a minor adjustment point, maybe in the first quarter, and then it'll become the norm. Midstream equipment is not predicated on what's existing in the home, so we're not. It's really just tied to the efficiency of the equipment, and it's approved for new construction, multifamily, and commercial installations as well. The customer information that the distributors need for Midstream in order to submit through to PSE are the installation address, including the suite number, if applicable, or the unit number. So if you're buying six units for a complex and there's multiple units, it's really important that we capture each one of those unit numbers. If it's not captured, it gets held up in the process. We have to go back to the distributor. They then have to come back and contact you. And I know everyone is so busy that it's just, if we can get that data right up front, it really saves us all a lot of time. We also need the building type, whether it's single family, office, retail, et cetera. The project type or structural designation, is it new construction or retrofit? We're really going to be zeroing in on that since we have some significant changes between, especially for the heat pump water heater, between the new construction and retrofit rebates. That's going to be going through a more intense QC process. We need the estimated installation date. And then, of course, we'd like to capture the previous heating type if it's known at the time. That helps us establishing our baseline for future program years. If it's not known, it's not required. Next slide, please. Okay, so Midstream is different than Downstream, and the folks that are eligible is basically anyone receiving electric service from Puget Sound Energy, Seattle City Light, and Snohomish County PUD. With Snohomish County joining, we're excited to expand to the region so that it makes it less of a risk factor for the contractors offering these rebates down to their customers. As I mentioned, it applies to single family, multifamily, manufactured homes, small commercial, and of course, new construction and retrofit. The limits for equipment, and this applies to water heat and space heat. There are no limits on commercial projects. And new for 2022, there is a limit of one system per household on the residential side. Next slide, please. Okay, for program verifications, PSE is required through the Utility Commission to conduct a certain percentage of verifications that the actual piece of equipment that we rebated was installed at the actual customer's home that we claimed. And so this is conducted by our V team. We do field visits or virtual verification visits. If you could help us out by letting the customer know that there's potential their home could be selected, it's typically random. We generally need about a 2-hour window when the customer would need to be present or available to use some FaceTime or whatever it is that allows them to do the virtual verifications. For Midstream, it's a bit different. The PSE basically initiates with the customer to confirm something was installed on site. If we're unable to confirm with the customer, we then follow up with the contractor to see if the address was correct. I know I've spoken to many contractors just with a quick call. Can you confirm this was installed at this location? These are usually field or virtual as well. And then if we can't confirm via the customer or the contractor, we loop the distributor in for those that can't be verified. And this is my last slide. We will have a Q&A section. So I'm hoping that you all have found value in this, and I will turn it over to Colin Stone, who is our Trade Ally Network Program Manager.
Thanks, Holly. All right, so just want to quickly go over the Trade Ally Network and kind of the process of applying if you are not already a PSE Trade Ally or a recommended energy professional. So here we have a Trade Ally portal, which can be found on our PSE webpage. You can register without becoming an actual PSE Trade Ally. If we post or load any information to just our registered contractors, you will be able to see that there. It's a great way to stay in touch with the Trade Ally Network and let us know if you have any questions in the future. If you do want to take the next step and become a PSE Trade Ally, we do have an application and onboarding process. This changed last year. We used to hold onboarding only one time each year. That was in the January through February, and you could only apply to become a Trade Ally during that 1 month. We've changed that. You can apply all year long. So that's a great improvement, and we've moved our trainings to a recorded platform, which is hosted in that Trade Ally portal. So we're really streamlining and consolidating all of our resources for Trade Allies to our portal. Now, once you become a Trade Ally, the main benefit that a lot of folks join for is to be able to offer instant rebates to our customers. Holly and Jesse talked about a lot of our rebate programs on the space and water heating side. And as a Trade Ally, you have the option to provide all of those upfront on the customer invoice, as they both mentioned. In addition, we also have some program and account support resources here at PSE for you and your company. Once you're a Trade Ally, we do hold quarterly and continuous performance reviews, making sure you're staying active, completing jobs for PSE customers, and then your records such as license, insurance, any certifications are staying up to date, and you're handling any customer complaint or verification issues. Now, once you become a Trade Ally, we ask that you stay a member for 6 months or 2 quarterly reviews. And after that time, you can apply to become a recommended energy professional, although that's completely optional and up to you. One main benefit of becoming a rep, as we call folks, is we have customer referrals where PSE customers come to us who need heating and water heating contractors and others such as windows and weatherization. But they need resources, and we connect our customers to our recommended energy professionals and help make that connection, driving additional business to your company and providing that service to our customers. We also have some marketing and co-branding materials for our reps, as well as limited time offers we exclusively offer to our recommended energy professionals. So this is a quick overview of the process to join. If you aren't already, a lot of folks are already in the network, so thank you for your continued support and participation. If you have any questions about this or your status or next steps, you can always email me at tradeallysupport@pse.com. Next slide, please. And I believe this is our last polling question. Does your office perform commercial work, and are you interested in PSE offering a commercial referral program? We're really looking to see if we can provide additional services and support to our commercial customers. So you should see a polling question pop up here momentarily. Just looking to get some feedback for future offerings. We'll give you about 30 seconds here to answer that.
Hey, Colin, it's Holly, and I see there's a question in the chat that I thought I could answer while we're waiting for folks to fill out this poll question. Chris Hollingsworth asked, what type of heat pump systems are you seeing the biggest savings for customers? And that would be a traditional heat pump serving the whole home, offsetting the usage of the electric forced air furnace. It's a very dramatic decrease in usage, and it's a rebate that we're really hoping sees a lot of participation in 2022.
Great, thanks. All right, so we're pretty close split. So thank you for answering that. It looks like a lot of folks don't work with commercial customers in general, but those that do, we may be following up with you later this year about expanding our Trade Ally Network programs. Next slide, please. And then to wrap up the Trade Ally Network review here, just wanted to show a couple of visuals. Here in the center with the concentric circles, we have kind of our program structure showing the larger Trade Ally portal that you can just register to and stay up to date with us. If you want to take the next step, you can become a Trade Ally. That's where instant rebates are an option for your company. And then after that 6-month review period, you can apply to become a recommended energy professional or rep. And that's where you have access to those customer referrals. Those are optional as well. One point I do want to quickly make is for the instant rebates, you must be a PSE Trade Ally in order to offer instant rebates to customers. If you try to submit a application to a rebates team, they will reach out to me, and I will reach out to your company and just review that process and encourage you to join. And then we have our 4 guiding principles for the Trade Ally Network. So if you have any questions or want more information about the Trade Ally Network, you can visit our website. We'll be sure to put that in the chat, and we'll move on to the last slide. And just quickly recapping our program resources that we've mentioned, the Energy Advisor Hotline, they are our frontline experts, Monday through Friday via phone. They have an email address as well. Our Midstream rebates is handled through our Energy Solutions team with their contact information. We have our PSE gas and electric first response phone number, as well as our customer construction services, which are a great resource for especially gas equipment installation or meter sizing questions to make sure customer gas meters are properly sized. With that, we're going to wrap up this presentation and move on to our Q&A session. So if you haven't done so already, please use the Q&A function to drop any questions in there, and we'll bring all of our panelists back and we'll dive into some of those questions. All right, so Joel asked, split systems don't apply for rebates. So I think, Holly, this is going back to your mini split topic.
Sorry, what is the question?
Split systems don't apply for rebates. So do split systems apply or qualify for rebates?
Oh, it looks like Joel is indicating I've already answered that question, so that's good.
Okay, we'll move on. Who do we contact with any special circumstances?
Oh, that's a great question. So because we have this change and we are working with our contractors, we know that there's supply chain issues and that bids have been written already that include potentially a retired measure. Your first line of questioning should go to an energy advisor. We meet with them regularly. They're very well versed on sort of where we can make allowances, where we can't. When in doubt, they'll forward it to the PM and you'll get a response, hopefully within 48 hours, generally same day, but sometimes it drags over a day or two. If you don't find your answer through the energy advisor or not to your satisfaction, you can also reach out to the Trade Ally Network email. You're best suited to submit your emails to the Trade Ally Network. That mailbox is manned specifically. Some of the program managers can get bogged down in meetings, so your best bet is to get a quickest response from the Trade Ally Network. And then, sorry, Colin, just this isn't answering a question, but I don't want anyone to be confused. I know Jesse Durst is the one that presented on the water heat program, but just like all of our contractors are experiencing staffing issues, as Jesse has been promoted into a different position. He'll be working on our evaluation team. And we have a new PSE employee, Patrick Casper, joining us, and he will be the water heat program manager. And that's why he's displayed here. So any water heat questions can be referred to Patrick and or the Trade Ally Network and or the energy advisors, and we'll get an answer back to you as quickly as possible.
Great, thanks, Holly. We also had a question pop up in the chat regarding that exception process. Will there be a letter of confirmation to confirm the rebate on those exceptions instead of just a verbal consent from the energy advisor?
Sorry, Colin, can you read that question again?
Yeah. Does PSC provide a letter of confirmation to confirm, approval or pre-approval for those exception requests?
Yes, sorry. Yes, if you contact an energy advisor and they get approval from a PM, we will issue you a specific letter that you can submit with your rebate, so you're not facing that same kind of question again with the rebate processor.
Great, thank you. Will we be emailing out the slide deck that we've covered here today to participants after the meeting?
Yes, this has been recorded. It will be available to you. In addition, the slides will be available. Yes.
Yep, perfect. How should we handle any rebates that were quoted in 2021 but to be installed in January or later due to any supply chain issues?
Sure. So we realize that bids will have been written. We request that you try to prioritize those projects for installation prior to January 31st and get those submitted to us. If you're seeking an exception or you have projects that are going to be installed in February, you'll want to send the project details to PSE so we can issue you a pre-approval letter and get you through. We definitely don't want to hurt your business. If you've quoted the customer a higher rebate than we now have available, We'll be interested to know when you performed that quote. We did send notices out December 15th to everyone, so we will be looking at that. It could be that we'll ask for some demonstration of when you wrote the bid, but initially, things coming through January 31st shouldn't require any kind of special review. You can just submit them after January 31st. We will be taking a bit closer look at those, so you'll want pre-approval for those being submitted after January 31st.
Great. I think that might have just answered the next question we had. If we have any projects that we bid with any retired measures, how do we submit those? I know you mentioned like maybe the DHP to whole home, which was the $1,500 rebate, was retired and now an $800. Can you kind of go over that?
Yeah, if you wrote the bid for $1,500 and it actually is serving the whole home, we'll be happy to honor those rebates. If you can demonstrate that you wrote the bid before December 15th, pretty much anything after December 15th, it's not that it will be a straight denial. We will be issuing pre-approvals, but it's less likely that we'll be approving those just because we are communicating changes as quickly as we can. But I don't want anyone to leave this call worried. If you wrote the bid in good faith before we notified you of the change, we're going to be happy to pay that even if it's installed after January 31st. So the supply chain issues, we don't want to punish anyone or have anyone have an ill, business effect due to our changes.
Yeah, and we definitely, I'll add on to that. We definitely understand things are tough right now. So if you do run into any of those, please feel free to reach out to the Trade Ally support team. We'll work with you and the appropriate program managers to kind of work through any scenarios and help you out as best we can also. I have one more question here. Will PSE be doing any specific marketing in 2022?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So yes, PSE is going to be running some studies to look at usage to find the highest electric users to try and get the heat pump rebates targeted to specific customers. We're looking at ways that we can potentially partner with contractors with that data so that when you're going out, you can see where the customers would be that actually qualify for the rebate. And then we're also working with our outreach team. We're going to begin some contractor one-on-one sessions where we can come to your office, maybe bring donuts or breakfast or what have you, and really try to understand from you where the pain points are in our programs. We'd like to better communicate the data that's needed for Midstream so that your business is reaping the benefits of the Midstream PSE funded distributor rebates, and learn from you, since kind of the low-hanging fruit is gone and we are trying to deliver cost-effective energy savings. We realize there's things we can learn from you, and there's more support we can offer you. So we'll be looking at collateral pieces that may help with your business. We don't want to just create something. So that's kind of why we'll be reaching out to you. And Hunter Hassig in our outreach department may be reaching out to you to schedule some time. What we'd like to do is not impose on your time. We know that you're busy, but maybe grab a half hour, an hour, some early morning when everyone's in the office and we can hit as many of your folks as possible and just have us available for a Q&A for you.
Great, thanks, Holly. One last question here. What about equipment that may be on back order that includes rebates?
I think that's pretty much the same answer. We'll work with you. Basically, if you can demonstrate that you bid the work, it's on back order, we don't want to punish you or have your customer be upset with you. There are, we're going to be trying to walk that balance of, is it, if it's in June, we might have some issues, but I don't want anyone to leave today worried about that type of thing. We will work with you. We're going to try and sort of straddle that line of, is it cost-effective savings? How far is it after the program? And is it related to supply chain issues?
Great. I think that just about sums up our Q&A that we have. I did want to just quickly mention for any trade allies or recommended energy professionals that have joined us today, we will have this recorded training also in the Trade Ally portal, I believe, as well. And we do have a new training tab there with any assigned program trainings for your company. So if you have any questions regarding that, please reach out to me if you haven't seen those or need those reassigned. With that, I think I'm going to hand it back over to Alana to close this out.
Hi again, everyone. Next slide. So thank you again for joining us today here at PSE. We appreciate taking the time to meet with us and attend the training. One thing I want to ask of you is to watch for the after event survey. Please fill that out. That really helps us grow and learn into what we can do to better perform for future events for all of you and other maybe programs specifically you're likely to hear about, or any other information, or even setting up a one-on-one with the presenters here today. We will also send out a thank you email in the next few days, which will include this event recording and some great contact information. And then finally, really exciting, there will be some winners contacted after today's event as well. So one lucky winner is going to win a $300 DoorDash gift card for your office. So, and then on top of that, there will be 10 winners selected randomly for a $120 Starbucks gift card per attendee. So check your email, lots of good information coming your way. Thank you again to today's panelists, really appreciate you. And thank you again for spending your morning with us, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thanks.